Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the Tier 10 Swedish auto-reloading heavy, the Kranvagn, a vehicle that I believe to be the most overpowered tank in the current state of the game. Why? Well, let's talk about what happened in the latest update. First of all, the Kran now features 2,650 base damage per minute, meaning that this tank can out-DPM the majority of Tier 10 heavies and go toe-to-toe with some of the higher damage per minute heavies. That is especially when you add into the fact this vehicle has a 3-shell auto-reloading gun. So, Shell 3 is where you're going to get your most damage per minute out. We can see Shell 3 is a 6.56 second reload, plus a 2.73 second intra-clip. So it's like 9-ish, 9.2 seconds for Shell 3. Shell 2 has a 9.38 second reload, and then you have to add on 2.73, so it's more like 11-ish, 11.5, and then Shell 1 is 13. So the more you eat into the clip, the worse your effective damage per minute gets. However, Shell 3, if you shoot once, reload once, shoot once, reload once, you're sitting at 2,650 effective damage per minute. That means you have an additional Shell 2 and 1 that you can shoot whenever you want. So you can have 2,650 DPM and then an additional 800 damage at your disposal whenever you need it. Technically meaning that in that minute, you have a potential damage output of around 3,600. That is insane. The fact that the Kran can go from 2,600 to 3,600 DPM in such a short amount of time. Well, it's not 3,600, it's more like 3,400, but still, it's wild. So, yeah, that part about the Kran is kind of insane. Not only that, but the vehicle received more damage per shot, now sitting at 410. Yeah, it's not like a huge change, but a buff is a buff, and the alpha damage being slightly more is going to allow this vehicle to now outtrade some of the other heavies, like an Object 260, and it will increase the trade distance between mediums, which have 350 to 340 damage per shot. The Kran still keeps its super speed boost, and not only that, still keeps the armor, gun depression, and overall pretty solid gun. The only thing that was nerfed on the vehicle was basically the penetration. It went from 370 millimeters of heat down to 350. And while that is a rather substantial nerf at the end of the day, I don't really think it affects the capabilities of the tank all too much. As we can see, it is still plenty of heat pen to cut right through a mouse upper plate. Now you'll notice here that I dumped my clip, and you might wonder why. I just lost my effective damage per minute. And the reason why is pretty simple. While this vehicle does obviously gain DPM on single shot, especially if you're shooting at one shell, I at the same time feel like it's still pretty beneficial to just dump your clip into your opponents and back into cover, which is exactly what we're doing now. Because as we can see, it's nearly impossible for the enemy to actually counter me. And this is where we wait and we reload. Now we can see that that mouse is trying to make his way off to the flank over here. And we are going to simply reload our shells. We have shell 2 in the magazine right now, and a little bit longer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just like that, we have our shot. So we get an easy shell into the T-22. We get another easy shell into the T-22, and I was tempted to shoot it, but it wasn't worth it because I see the mouse is playing fairly aggressive, and I'll just wait. Again, we gain DPM waiting for our shells here, so I can just wait passively, and we'll aim it on the T-22, except I ideally just want to wait for my final shell, then we can load a gold shell, finish off the T-22, and then we can push on the mouse here, and again, with our solid single-shot DPM, I can aim it on the mouse, and, well, we'll just load a gold shell to guarantee the pen. There's 1, 2, and we'll just load gold. There you go. See ya. Yeah, the Kran is a little bit of a stupid tank, isn't it? We are already up to 3,600 damage. I've put in almost no effort, and it's going to be an incredibly easy win. So, yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are probably going to cry and complain that, oh, the heat pen was nerfed, blah, 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 blue, 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 cry, 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 but, well, I don't think it's really affected my battle at all. We're going to reload, and in 4 seconds we will have 3 shells for this 113. Hello, Mr. or not 113, sorry, Object 260. And there's 1 shell into his tank. And then we simply reload, and we wait. And let's see, 60 TP's going to aim in on him. He gets a max roll, actually, but that's fine with me. We get 1 pen into you. 2 pens into you, and we'll aim it on the E100 for that third and final pen. I could have shot the Yag, I guess, but it doesn't really matter. We did 5,000 damage in this game, and this was a 3-minute battle. 5,000 damage in 3 minutes. That means if this game had kept going, I could have technically dealt over 10,000 damage if you add in the DPM. So the Kron basically has it all now. It has damage per minute when you need it. It has a fairly accurate gun, which is able to dominate on a ridgeline. It has good mobility. It has good armor. And when you add all that together, I really don't see any world where the Kron is really going to struggle unless the driver itself struggles. Now, I know for a fact there will be people that don't do well in this tank. But at the end of the day, it's not the Kron. It is 100% the driver. To do well in a vehicle like the Kron, you have to do one thing. Sit hull down. That is it. If you use your gun depression and you hide your turret, you will not be penned in this vehicle. Apart from that, you just got to manage your shells, and that's more just using your brain. Yeah, I know. Using your couple brain cells, it can be challenging, but if you do it right, it will help you. Sometimes dumping the clip is beneficial, sometimes it isn't. That last game, obviously, I dumped my clip when I felt like it was suitable, but I also used my DPM when I felt like it was important. So that's something you always got to keep in mind when driving this vehicle. What is going to be beneficial for you? Now this E5, I'm not sure why he stopped. That might lose me some health. I guess we'll find out. No, didn't actually lose me any health, which is pretty nice. I am going to push up wide, and we will see if I can get across this. Nice, I was able to. 50p is poking, but not really much of a worry for me. Rhino gets one shell into my teammate, and we got the 4005 in the back. And honestly, I'm just going to aim it on that 4005 if I can. There's one shell. We're going to load in an HE, and ooh, another shell, and another shell. There you go. Great job from our 60 TP, though. Single-handedly throwing his entire tank away. Am I going to get YOLO'd by a 50B? I really don't like this. This is hella sus, not going to lie. Alright, well, let's reload. We do obviously have the single shot capabilities, and there you go, 660 damage high explosive, which is a lot. I mean, that's an absolute juicer of damage there. Problem is, my team is falling apart rather quickly, and that is not what I like to see. So I am going to activate my speed boost, and I'm going to maneuver right over here, just like this. This is going to put us in a rather strong spot, where I think this Rhino is going to have a really tricky time cutting through us. But we'll just hold right now, and there you go, easy pen into the Rhino. Thank you. Our 50B is still holding as well, and this really puts that Rhino into an awkward position, because he can't really do anything to me. I'm able to hold this fine. And for example, like the enemy 50B, who's going to try and push off, well, it's going to be real hard for that 50B to make a play when I'm over here getting one shell into his tank and 2 shells into his tank. See ya. Rhino, obviously, not a threat, can't pen me. You can see why the Kron is such a stupid vehicle. Because you can just do this. What do you do to counter it? The answer is nothing. And what's funny is that I actually have basically the same DPM as this Rhino. He's going to leave. We get an easy shell into his side for 466. That puts us over 3,000 damage. We have the enemy AMX, who we're going to aim in on. There you go, 309. And that's a win. That was a 2.5-minute game. And I was able to deal 3,500 damage. I mean, yeah, the Kron is just an incredibly stupid tank. I have no joke been sitting at 100% win rate in this vehicle for my games. You can see here I've not lost in the Kron at all, and just to show you how wildly busted the Kron is right now, let me pull up my Blitz Star statistics for this month. Let me go to display capture. Here we go. So if we go to tier 10 30 day and we specifically go to Swedish heavies, my Kron has 26 games played this month with a 96% win rate. The average damage is a little lower than I'd like, but some of these games are played during the update teams. Point being, 96% win rate with 26 battles played, and most of them have been solo games. The Kron is truly a ridiculous tank. The fact that it got an intra-clip buff, allowing it to deal 1,230 damage in just 5.4 seconds is stupid. And when you pair that with the fact that it has more alpha and it has more DPM, only at the downside of slightly worse pen, which was still plenty to deal with any situation I ran into, I just think the Kron is really one of the most overpowered tier 10s. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about this vehicle. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!